The Rolling Stones were looking for designs for their 1970 European tour materials, and Decca Records' suggestions were not cutting it. Mick Jagger saw the work of student John Pash at the Royal College of Art student show, and he approached him about creating a design. The Stones wanted a design not only for a poster, but maybe also for a logo. Jagger suggested the tongue of Hindu goddess Kali as a starting point. It represents the band's anti-authoritarianism, sexuality, and of course, Mick's mouth. Pash told the New York Times, "I didn't want to do anything overtly Indian because I thought it would be dated very quickly as everyone was going through that phase at the time." It did inspire the design, though. The student faxed the rough design to Craig Braun from Sound Packaging Corporation, and using that image, his creative team cleaned up and reworked the logo to what we know today as one of the most iconic logos on the planet. Pash was paid just £50 in 1970 for the logo, and he was paid another £200 in 1972. In 2008, London's Victoria and Albert Museum bought Pash's original artwork of the Rolling Stones tongue and lips logo for $92,500. Logos are an essential part of any band's visual identity. These are the 10 greatest band logos of all time and the designers and stories behind them. Stick around to the end for the worst band logo. The Wu-Tang Clan logo was created in 1993 by Ronald Maurice Bean, also known as Mathematics. He's a DJ, record producer, and graphic designer. Mathematics has been with the Wu-Tang since the very beginning. In yellow and black, the logo is a single W in the form of a predatory bird, swooping down with outstretched wings. The W also resembles the roughly round shape of a record or CD, perfect for labeling media. It's simple, bold, and unique, easily recognizable. The Wu-Tang Clan has one of the most memorable and iconic logos in the entire world. Arturo Vega, sometimes called the Fifth Ramone, designed the iconic Ramones logo. Vega was the band's creative director and archivist. Joey and Dee Dee Ramone lived with him before the band had recorded their first record. His most famous creation is the seal and t-shirt that defined the Ramones image. The Ramones have sold more t-shirts with this logo than they have albums. The presidential seal is meant to convey the Americanness of the band. The baseball bat, the eagle clutches, refers to both the song Beat on the Brat and Johnny Ramone's love of baseball. The apple branch in the other talon is another reference to the all-American qualities of the band. Apple pie. And the names, of course, are the founding members. Joey, Johnny, Dee Dee, and Tommy Ramone. Amazingly, Run DMC's iconic logo never appeared on a proper album for the band, only singles and merch. The classic block and font logo was created by Island Records in-house designer Stephanie Nash. Nash put the 6 bold letters in Franklin Gothic Heavy, white letters bound by 2 simple blocky red lines. The logo appeared first on the My Adidas single, but interestingly, never on a proper Run DMC album cover. Its presence in the hit video for Walk This Way with Aerosmith cemented it in the public's mind. Stephanie Nash said, "Rap was very inspirational for me at the time. Large, meaningful, hard-hitting words used with such power that I'd not heard before. At the time, we had a limited number of fonts available, and Franklin Gothic was tough and forthright, without being old-fashioned or faddish. It's a good, solid, no-nonsense font. Run DMC's name helped in having 2 sets of 3 letters." The bold-lettered KI double lightning bolts of the KISS logo have barely been altered since the mid-1970s, with the exception of an edited version used in Germany since 1980 in response to the accusations that the band was glorifying the Nazi SS. Lead guitarist Ace Frehley designed it. Ace wrote the name over a poster for Wicked Lester, the band Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley left to form KISS, and he came up with those S's on the fly. Some of Wicked Lester's artwork used a similar jagged lightning bolt in place of its own single S. Though Ace designed it, Paul Stanley drew that on his kitchen table very early on, with a T-square and a triangle and some technical text. The band's 1976 album was lettered by Michael Doré, whose iconic work includes the New York Knicks logo. He said, "On the album covers that I did, I redrew it. I'd look for geometry and things, and just nothing really lined up. The 2 S's were at different angles and kind of leaning, and it just bugged me." Public Enemy's logo was also drawn by a graphic design student, the group leader Chuck D. It embodies the powerfully activist views of the band, with military-styled lettering and crosshairs views on a figure. It's often mistaken for a cop, but it was actually a cutout of LL Cool J producer E. Love. Chuck's rough mock-up was cleaned up by Eric Hayes, art director for the first album, Yo, Bum Rush the Show. As Chuck D told the Red Bull Music Academy in Barcelona in 2008, I always liked to see the rock and roll guys. They had logos, so why couldn't it be the same in rap? I wanted to make the music legitimate, as much as other genres. Dead Kennedy's emblem features the letters DK over a red circle enclosed. The logo is the creation of collage artist Winston Smith, who designed album covers for Dead Kennedys and many other bands. The logo was created in one night. The Dead Kennedys immediately began using it at concerts. The letters take the form of double-edged swords, sharp as the music and the biting political sarcasm of the lyrics. Funny, hilariously crass, and to many offensive. They would wound your enemy, but do you dare take a hold of it yourself? The electric energy of the AC/DC logo perfectly encapsulates the sound of the band's music. Raw, sharp, punching with power. The original logo, as pictured on the cover of the 1975 Australian pressing of High Voltage, just didn't have the same oomph. It did have the lightning bolt, though. That would become omnipresent in all the following incarnations of the logo. After their first two albums blew up Down Under, Atlantic Records signed them, and the label was set to release the international version of High Voltage, which had songs from both the Australian release and TNT. Graphic designer Gerald Huerta was assigned to create some typography for it. It must have just been a normal assignment for Gerard, but the logo he created would be etched into desks, notebooks, and jean jackets for decades to follow. The album cover for Let There Be Rock showed the evolved, perfectly balanced logo, but there were still a couple of missteps left. 1976 Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap, which is in Australia only until 1981, and Powerage in 1978 had kind of lackluster versions of the logo. But every record after 1978 featured the iconic, classic version of the AC/DC logo. Black Flag's logo was designed by Raymond Pettibon, brother of Black Flag founder Greg Ginn. The black flag is the opposite of the white flag of surrender. It was a tribute to the riotous youth of LA and the US punk scene, as well as the original anarchist movement that flew the black flag in Europe in the 1880s. Pettibon designed most of Black Flag's artwork. He actually hand drew a lot of the band's album covers, flyers, and posters. His artistic style helped define one of the most compelling underground music movements in American history. The logo itself was made into a stencil, making it easy for fans to spread the image. It's also well known enough to be memed and parodied regularly. Metallica has had 4 logos throughout its history, but it's best known for the first version, created by James Hetfield. It was first introduced on the cover of Kill 'Em All, and it stayed with the band for more than a decade. Even after that, all the other versions sort of referenced the Riding Lightning first logo. The elongated, spiky first and last letters implied jolts of electricity in either electric chairs or electric guitars. The original logo was readopted and reworked in 2008 by Turner Duckworth's design studio, and it remains in effect to this day. And the worst band logo I could think of? The worst band logo I could think of is the logo for the jam band Fish. It truly looks like a friend drew it with markers at a pot party and they were like, yeah, cool, man. What's your favorite band logo? Leave a comment below. And if you dug this video, check out this one where I used a scientific system to rank Bob Marley's records worst to best. Science.